Hey guys, it's Konpeki here, and in this video, I'll teach you guys how to beat Valorant's RNG. So whether you've been playing the game for a while or you're relatively new to the game, you guys are all probably used to the fact that bullets in this game are never 100% accurate to where our crosshair is. And that's why you hear people complaining saying, it's a trash RNG game. I mean, I get it, right? Your bullets fly everywhere when you're moving around like this. When you're spraying, your bullets fly above your crosshair. And even at long distances with, let's say, the bot right here, your bullets don't always hit, even when your crosshair is literally on the head like that. So let me help you guys out in this video so you don't have to rely on luck, and so that you guys can learn the right skills and improve on those skills to be able to actually create your own luck, just like how the best players in the world do. Okay, so the first step to beating Valorant's RNG is understanding that there are 3 different types of bullet errors. There's your first bullet accuracy error, there's your weapon firing error, and there's also movement error. So let's talk about the first one. First bullet accuracy. When we pull up the buy menu and we look at the Phantom versus the Vandal, you'll see that the first shot spread right here on the right hand side, the Phantom has a 20% lower number than the Vandal. And so it just means that the Phantom is literally 20% more accurate with the first bullet compared to the Vandal. Okay. And for all these different guns, you'll notice that they have different values. Like for instance, the Marshall has a 1 degree of error when we hit fire, so this is like not scoped in. And then with ADS, it's 0. Aiming down sight, it's 100% accurate, versus if we were to just fire normally, the bullets land within a circle of 1 degree. Okay, but with the op, it's 5. Okay, it's 5 when we're not scoped in, so it is gonna go everywhere compared to the Marshall. So that's basically how your first bullet accuracy works. Okay, and the second type of error that you need to know about is the weapon firing error. And so here, if you go to video, go to stats, scroll all the way down, go to shooting error, graph only. Whenever you are shooting your gun, right here on the right hand side, the shooting error bar shows 0.2. That's exactly the first bullet accuracy that we saw earlier, right? But when we start shooting the bullets more, you'll notice that the graph suddenly starts to go up higher. Okay, so this shows how the more bullets we start to spray, the more inaccurate our bullets are going to be. So in the beginning, for just a few of our shots, you'll notice that the graph doesn't really go up that much. But then starting from the 4th and 5th bullets, that's when the graph spikes up, right? So that means no matter how well we control how we pull down on the 4th and 5th bullets, that's where we'll start to see the bullets kind of flying out a little bit all over the place, especially at long distances. And if we look at the actual firing error when we're shooting, you'll notice that even like the circle gets bigger as represented by the graph. And so that's why you don't really want to spray more than like 2-3 bullets at long range, even if you're pulling down, because the bullets will still fly like within that bigger circle, and not all of them are going to be like headshots, right? So that's weapon firing error. And the last movement error, as you guys might have seen already, is the movement error, right? So when we're moving around, you'll see that the crosshair gets bigger, and this movement error is actually represented by the blue bar in the game. So when we're actually just standing still, it was 0.2, right? So when we're moving and running, it's 6.2. So that means just by running full speed, we're introducing 6 degrees of extra inaccuracy in our bullets. And you can actually see this more clearly when we're changing up the way we move, right? So for instance, if we were just walking, it's 3 degrees now. And when we're actually crouched, check this out, it's 0.17. Okay, so crouching, actually you can see that it tightens up your first bullet accuracy, which is why if you want to hold a pretty long angle, maybe an off angle, you can ADS to lower your first shot spread, and you can also crouch to tighten that up even more. And now it's 0.14 that you see on the graph, right? And so these are things that you can incorporate into your gameplay in order to reduce the effects of RNG. All right, now I'm going to teach you guys some drills that you guys can practice to help you guys mitigate some of these RNG factors. And if you need any hands-on help to implement the drills that I'm about to teach you guys, my team of VCT coaches and I can give you feedback inside our 10-week Immortal Roadmap coaching program. Our average student gains 500 RR in 10 weeks, and you can read reviews like this all over our website and Discord. I can confidently say that we have the highest success rate and the best coaching program out there. That's why if you don't gain 500 RR in 10 weeks, we'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. We just opened up 50 spots for our summer season, so if you want us to take a look at your tracker and see if we're a good fit, book a free call using the link below. Okay, so the first drill I want to show you guys has to do with working on our first bullet accuracy. As you guys saw earlier, your first bullet is always going to be the most accurate shot in your gun, so you want to make sure your first bullet actually counts and you shoot when you've confirmed that your crosshair is on the target. Okay, so the way you want to practice this is by going to the range. I've showed this to you guys a few times, but please trust me, like this is super important and it's going to build on top of the other drills that I'm going to show you guys after this. Come to the range, just turn on the bots and come to this line right here where the tiles don't line up. Come to the middle, and this is where we pick 2 different bots at a time and we work on flicking and micro adjusting and then making sure that our crosshair is confirmed to be on the target, and then that's when we shoot. Okay, so we flick, micro adjust, and then shoot. Flick, micro adjust, shoot, flick, micro adjust, shoot. Okay, so we're not flicking and shooting like this right away. Okay, that's a whole different thing. What we want to do instead is flick, actually confirm really quickly that our crosshair is on, and then shoot, flick, micro adjust, shoot, and do this over and over again, back and forth. And you can slowly build up speed over time. Okay, so right now, like I've done this drill so much, I've practiced this drill, so my first initial flick for the most part is pretty darn accurate. Okay, but I still make sure that if I'm off, I quickly snap back, shoot, flick, and go back and forth. Okay, so this will also help you make sure that your flicks are actually like even height horizontally, and this is also really helpful for making sure that our crosshair placement stays at the same level. What you can also do is practice by going on top of this little ledge here with jet, and you can turn on a metronome and follow the beats to try to micro adjust and shoot only at each of the beats. Okay, it's kind of going left and right. You can also kind of switch things up and move left, right, different things like that, but just get in the rhythm, and this will also help you with your micro adjustments. I also have more aim training resources inside my Discord server, and also there's a link down below that I'm going to pin to the comments. It should be called the Mechanics Mastery Guide, and if you click on that link, I can email you guys a whole PDF document that has a whole list of other resources in there. Okay, so now that we talked about how we can work on our first bullet accuracy, let's talk about weapon firing error, some drills to help you with that. So we know that ideally, we try to make sure our crosshair is fully on our target before we shoot, but that's not realistic, right? Sometimes your first bullet will miss, and other times you just won't have time to readjust your aim. And that's why we have to learn how to control our spray. A common mistake that I see players make is at medium distances, people just don't pull down. Like they shoot 2 bullets, they strafe, but notice how the second bullets are flying above the bot's head. So if we take a look at this target right here, if I don't pull down at all, notice how some of the bullets, yeah, they do group up, but for the most part, it jumps up, right? So even if I shoot like that, the second bullet goes up. And so it's actually a good habit to get used to pulling down even just a little bit in between your strafes, okay? So you can do this with the Phantom or with the Vandal. And another thing is we want to make sure that at least in medium distances like this, that even if we don't hit the head on the first try with our first bullet accuracy, that we're still able to follow up with a spray to be able to still hit like 3-4 quick body shots to kill the opponent. So the way you can make sure you have consistent spray control is by going to this 10 meter mark and just try controlling at least 5 bullets of your spray. And I'll just go left to right horizontally like this. And for the Vandal, it has a higher recoil than the Phantom. So for the Phantom, at the 10 meter mark, I have to pull down basically from the head to the waist. But for the Vandal, it's all the way down sort of like to the thigh, okay? So I'm just going to pull down all the way, 5, and then see how like it's below the waist. But for the Phantom, I don't have to pull down as much. Just practice getting a tight grouping for these. Okay, And you want to make sure that you pull down a little bit faster towards the end, because the 4th and 5th bullet always jump up a little bit more. Okay. And once you've gotten that spray down, you can also try practicing spray transfer here. So what I like to do is when you're spray transferring, you always want to make sure that you try to kill the first target in the shortest amount of time as possible, so that the rest of your bullets are not going to be so crazy to control, okay, for the spray down. So ideally, you kill the first target, ideally the one that's also further away. So let's say like in this instance, I'm trying to spray transfer. I'll probably go for this further target first because it's much easier to spray down someone that's closer, right? So I'll try to kill the further guy in maybe 1 or 2 bullets. Like, let's say I'm a little off, okay, like that. And then I'll quickly flick and continue to pull down like I have been practicing over there in the range. So it'll look maybe something like this. And you can make it a little bit more difficult by also turning on strafe. And it also helps like if you want to kind of crouch a little bit to control your spray. Yeah, and if you practice this a bit, you'll be able to hit clips like this.
Nice.
All right, and lastly, let's talk about some drills on how we can reduce our movement error. The goal for this drill is to make ourselves as hard as possible to hit while also being fully accurate in between our strafes. So in changes of direction, that's when my gun is actually fully accurate, because that's when my velocity is 0. So with this drill, our goal is to be constantly moving left and right and shooting during the changes of direction while micro-adjusting to each of the target's head. And you can use a sheriff, you can use a vandal, you can use different guns, but the goal is to be constantly moving in between just so we get the timing down of our shots. And if you want to add more difficulty to this, you can also turn on strafe and practice this. It is much harder now. Obviously, you can still use other guns. But again, the same thing applies where we don't want to be letting go of any of our direction key and strafing constantly in between. And if you master this, you should be able to hit shots like this.
Fuck me.
What the hell?
Alrighty guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.